All right, so we'll do our best of the year so far in 2022. Decided to do it since it is June, so it's half the year is basically there. I know a lot of people sometimes they'll say like they'll watch a movie in February and say this is the best movie of the year. It's like damn, nigga, it's just February. How you gonna say this the second month? But but yeah. So I think give it a little bit more time, and then we just kind of maybe give some of the movies that we enjoyed so far this year, it being in June, and of course we'll always do our best of the year wrap up when it comes in December. But I think so far, if I had to say this year, it's been pretty solid. I think there's the movies that I've
Yeah.
expected to be good have been good, which has been nice when a movie that you're looking forward to is good. So that's been nice. Um,
Yep. Movies that I was looking forward to ended up being good. Movies that I had no idea were coming out ended up being awesome.
mm,
And movies that I thought would suck ended up actually being pretty solid.
yeah. So we'll go back and forth. I'll do mine, and then Nick will do his, and then we'll kind of go from there. So number one for me is Everything Everywhere All at Once. This was a movie that I was looking forward to. This was directed by the
Hmm.
Daniels. Great directing team. And I was very much looking forward to this movie. Michelle Yeoh,
Hmm.
obviously huge star, coming to do this movie. And it is, like I said in my review, this is basically generational trauma of the movie. We've been seeing a lot of trend of that,
Hmm.
of moms and daughter kind of relationships going on. We're seeing it currently in Miss Marvel. It was also in Turning Red. That's kind of like, I guess this is the season for generational trauma. This
Yeah,
is
Turning Red. Yeah, Turning Red and The Northman also,
Yeah,
in a way.
Northman in a way as well. So yeah, this was, I think, an amazing movie, beginning to
Hmm.
end. I think it had so much creativity, had so much fun with it, and also did tell such a really great, I think, personal story, which was, I think, the
Hmm.
core of the movie as well. Of the relationship
Yeah.
between the daughter and the mother, I think was very sweet and very beautiful. There's
Mm.
points in the movie where it did kind of choke me up at points. I'm not gonna lie.
Hmm.
And when they would kind of go to these kind of different universes, somebody would say that some people might say that maybe it was a little too goofy for them in terms of the style, in terms of there was maybe a little too kind of
Hmm.
animated or things like that. But I
Hmm.
thought it was
And
a lot of
yeah,
fun. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And to that point, because this is also my number one. So for me, I think all of those like really, really exaggerated, really cartoonish universes, those segments still have a really emotional payoff. Like the Rakakuni universe had one of those scenes that was making me cry, and it should not make me feel the way it does. The
Mm,
one where they have the hot dog fingers, it
mm,
has this huge emotional payoff in terms of the Jamie Lee Curtis character. Um, and again, like you were saying, this choreography is insanely fun and energetic. It's so creative, and this is like a multiverse of madness movie, but it never forgets to be this very personal story about the relationship between this mother and her daughter.
mm. Yeah. And that's why I would kind of come in when people would say that of like, when it's kind of stupid, like the hot dogs for fingers, or you know what I mean, the Rakakuni stuff. It's like, but those things had a purpose. It wasn't
Mhm.
just there to be like, hey, look,
Mhm.
it's funny that people got hot dog fingers and they
Mhm.
squirt mustard and ketchup
Yeah,
in their
the
mouths.
yeah, it's like the whole point is that absurdity. It's meant to be how absurdity is how I think the husband, who's played excellently by Kei Kwan, it's how he deals with kind of the mundanity and kind of the nothingness that life the the nothingness that life means. He uses that as absurdity, and he uses that to laugh at it because it is inherently silly.
Mm, yeah. Koki, have you heard anything about this movie?
It's been on my list. I've been putting off watching it, but I love the Daniels. I love Swiss Army Man that they did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
It's
fucking
they
amazing.
took a really stupid premise and they made it really emotional. So I can only imagine what they're gonna do with this movie. I'm really excited. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I highly recommend people checking it out. I think, when I was watching it in my theater, got a huge reaction of, laughter and tears and, joy. I mean, it puts you through the gambit of emotions. And I think it will, when this year is all said and done, I think it will be in my top 10. So Nick, since he had the same number one as me, I'm just going to go into my number two film. And for me, my number two film is The Northman. The Northman, which is directed by Robert Eggers. Robert Eggers, who I think, like the Daniels, are some of the best the directors working today. I think, known for his work with The Witch and The Lighthouse. I think he's 3 for 3 with The Northman, which is, I think, one of his most accessible movies, as you'll call it. And with this whole kind of revenge story, basically it's Hamlet. You know what I mean? It's kind of basically what it is, and it's you still have those Robert Egger kind of weird or very artistic moments in here. That's what elevates this movie from just being a simplistic revenge story, and which I think are very nice. And also, he's a big history nerd. Robert Eggers, and with this film, there's a lot of attention to detail when it comes to doing this movie about this culture, about Vikings. There's a lot of attention to detail in this movie, which I think is shows throughout it. And you have such a wonderful performance by Alexander Skarsgård, who turned into a beast for this movie and packed on all this muscle to play this part. The action scenes are absolutely incredibly well shot. I mean, the one-shot scene of them going into the village, of them raiding it, is incredible. The volcano fight at the end, absolutely, one of my favorite fight scenes, I've seen in a while. Really, really amazing stuff. The look of the movie, also great performance also by Anna Taylor-Joy, Nicole Kidman, Ethan Hawke. Fantastic cast all around. And he also said, Robert Eggers, he'll never do a movie in the present day. He's like, fuck the present day. I'm never doing a movie there. I'm only doing movies in the past.
He's like, nah.
Yeah.
I don't think I will.
Right.
And Javon gets an attention like braces on the character. Well, those weren't braces; those were tattoos. Because Javon Good, he's talking about the character, the Valkyrie that you see in the movie. Nah, those weren't braces. I thought that at first too, but no, those were like tattoos that people used to put, like Vikings used to put on their teeth and things like that. Nick, you have anything to say about this movie at all?
I'll get to it when it shows up on my list, but it is an amazing looking film. It is a very simplistic film, but just because something is simple doesn't mean it can't be amazing, and that is very much the case here with The Northman.
Koki, have you heard about this film?
I've heard about this film. In regards to Robert Eggers, he's not like a filmmaker that I particularly like. I don't think his films are bad. I just don't really care for them. I saw The Witch when it got so much hype, and I remember watching it like, okay, cool. Maybe I just don't like uncomfortable situations. I got put off watching The Lighthouse also, so I'm not really a big fan of this man's catalog so far.
Why'd you spill your beans, Koki?
I don't think his films are bad. It just,
just doesn't connect.
I think they are very much an acquired taste. I think Robert Eggers, he's one of those films that if the films he makes are your cup of tea, you're gonna know right away.
Okay. Yeah. And watching this trailer, it reminded me a lot of The Revenant, which is probably why I was turned off watching it. It's like, if this isn't anything like that film, I don't know if I could.
This is a better made movie than The Revenant. I do not like that movie.
You don't.
Okay.
Like yeah, I think I do not
like The Revenant.
I do think it's leagues better than than Revenant. That's for sure. Okay. But I guess like I said, I think it's his most accessible movie. So if you didn't like his other ones, I think those were I guess it's an acquired taste of whether or not you can like them or not. Kind of, I know some people complain. Sometimes people say about his movies are slow or boring or things like that. The Lighthouse. I guess Koki wasn't interested in The Lighthouse. I guess he's never had fantasies about fucking a mermaid. I guess maybe that's why he couldn't get into it.
He's never had fantasies about being. he's never had fantasies about being trapped in a lighthouse with Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, you know.
And
Mermaid, yes,
and
but yeah.
and speaking of Robert Pattinson, moving on to my number 2,
All
you
right.
already know what it is: The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves, the newest retelling of the Caped Crusader. Of the entire pitch of this movie is, what if we made a movie about the world's greatest detective and let him be a fucking detective for once? This is a 3-hour epic that has one of the best openings of a comic book film. When after the Riddler claims his first victim, then that noir-inspired narration of Robert Pattinson and seeing Bruce Wayne in his persona just walking through the streets of Gotham with that excellent, amazing score by Michael Giacchino playing and crescendoing until he appears for the first time in the suit and beats a criminal down and just says to him, "I am vengeance." This was one of the films that gave me the most joy just as a comic book fan and as a fan of filmmaking. This is one of the best made comic book films to me, in my opinion. The cinematography by Greg Fraser is stunning to look at. If you look at the behind the scenes of how they made the film, with a lot of that, I think it's called I don't remember what the technology is called, but it's where they literally play the backgrounds on LED screens on these sets, and you can feel it. This feels like a real life Gotham City, and barely any of it was shot on location before COVID happened. I do think there is a little bit of fat to trim in the third act, but like I said with talking about Jurassic World yesterday, if your movie is over 2 hours and you still manage to keep me engaged, that's not a knock against you. That's a thing I'll praise for you.
Thank you, Terry Thompson. Thank you for the lurk, man. Thanks for coming in. Koki, have you seen this movie?
I have not watched this movie, and
Ah!
I know you got so mad at me when I first told you that, but maybe down the line I will watch this movie. First of all, this wasn't really my anticipated, considering what I knew what this project was going to be, which was the Ben Affleck directed and starring Batman movie. Now that I wanted to see, but the whole DC shakeup, and then he didn't want to direct it. He eventually left the project. So I was like, okay, what are we doing here? But the whole thing is, I'm just kind of burned out on Batman. Like, to me, after Dark Knight Rises, I'm like my fanboy of Batman was kind of finished. But then Warner Brothers wanted to make the more sci-fi Batman, and then you had all these CW shows, and there's just so much, and Lego Batman. It's like I feel like there's too much Batman, and I was kind of burned out on it, to be honest. But you know what? I will probably check this movie down the line.
Yeah.
And I get the complaint that there is like a little bit of Batman burn, especially with DC Comics, that they know that he is a license to print money, so they'll keep using that character as many times as they possibly can.
Yeah.
However, I feel burnt out when it's in stuff that sucks. Do you know what I mean? It's like whenever it's bad content, that's when I get burnt out. But as long as it's like fresh or interesting or engaging, or just a good movie, stuff like this, stuff like the Long Halloween that came out last year.
Yeah, I see your point there, Koki. It's for people, available on HBO Max, so they can you can watch it right there. Maybe take breaks in between if they want. It is a 3-hour movie. I can get the feeling. I mean, Batman is a big character for DC, and they constantly have shows and movies and spin-offs of even Batman characters. Like there's there's like even a show about the Butler, Alfred, that's on season 3.
Okay, does anybody watch that show? Who is watching goddamn
That's still
Pennyworth?
going?
Yeah, last time I heard it, it's on season 3. So somebody must be watching it. I don't know who, but somebody's watching it.
Is that a CW show?
No, that's on. I think it's on this thing called Epics.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you know what I mean. So, I mean, people are doing.
I am 100% sure that thing is a money laundering scheme.
Yeah, I've never watched it myself. I think I heard maybe from one person it was kind of good. I don't know. I've never seen it.
Really?
But yeah, I just saw it. So it has been renewed for a third season. So it has an audience, and it must be people watching it. I've never seen it myself. But
Good for the actors.
yeah,
They got the job security.
yeah, good for them. Good for people working on that.
Good
on
for
that
them.
show.
At least it's a television show connected to Batman that isn't gonna suck ballsack.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah. Wait.
Yeah, look at it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely not Titans or even Gotham.
yeah, Gotham Knights.
Yeah. I guess when you're like on the CW, you get like long-term like seasons. That's what I feel like. Like that. Like that
You know
series
you're
with,
gonna get you know you're gonna get like 5 seasons.
Yeah, like that. What was that movie? That Jared Padalecki, Supernatural. He's on the new
fucking,
Walker Texas Ranger show.
Walker.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who's watching that show, but it's been renewed for like a season 3, right? It's been on quite a while,
Yeah.
from what I've heard.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I guess it's just something people just keep on and then leave and do dishes or something, and they count that. I guess I don't know. But yeah. So Nick's number 2 was the Batman. I'm going to be moving on to my number 3. So number 3 for me is Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick was one of the biggest surprises for me this year. It is the sequel, the 36-year sequel to the first Top Gun movie that came all the way back out in 1986. Yeah, this was a huge surprise. I wasn't really looking for this movie to be good. I think the first Top Gun it's 80s cheese. It's not some masterpiece. It's not peak cinema at all. But this movie...
It is 80s cheese in a shameless Navy aviation recruitment ad.
I didn't get it when I saw it.
It is a Navy recruitment ad that is disguised as a softcore gay porn film.
Koki, you saw Top Gun Maverick? Or you talking about the first Top Gun?
I'm talking about the first Top Gun.
Okay. And you say you didn't get it. What didn't you get?
I heard so much about the movie, but when I actually watched it, it's like I don't think this is good at all. It's like, Tom Cruise being, like the young hot. It really felt like a typical story about this young hotshot who, learns to be more responsible in a way. Mm-hmm. And I think it also has to do with, I saw like a TV edited version where they took like this 2-hour movie and made it into 86 minutes. Mm. Maybe that has to do with it. But yeah, I didn't get it.
Yeah, I think a lot of Top Gun was the time and place. The soundtrack obviously had to do a lot with it too. The Danger Zone, Take My Breath Away, with 2 huge smash hits for that movie that played all the time in the 80s. You did have Tom Cruise, who was at the apex of his career, young. I think he was like 24 when he did that movie. You know what I mean? So very young, hotshot Tom Cruise. Also Val Kilmer, who was also top of his game. I think a lot of that movie is the aerial scenes. Just going back and watching that, those are still very, very good to watch. This new Maverick movie, this new sequel, really outdoes those scenes in a lot of ways. Now with new technology, 2022, which they still used a lot of practical looking effects with it. They did use real planes for it. Obviously, there is some CGI there that obviously helps as well. But yeah, I mean, that adds to it a lot. And, Tom Cruise even had them, the actors in the movie go through the training of, Navy pilots. They didn't fly the planes. I think they flew them a little bit, but you can only fly one of those if you're an actual Navy pilot. You can't fly one of those if you're not an actual Navy pilot. But yeah, this was something that I thought, it reminded me why Tom Cruise is the star he is. You know what I mean? He has that incredible charm, incredible charisma. Watching the dogfights in this movie are amazing to watch. Seeing the kind of supporting cast in this movie, when you watch the first one, they all pretty much look alike. They're all white guys, frosted tips. You know what I mean? Really, it's hard to distinguish who's even who.
They're all white guys, frosted tips, aviator sunglasses, drenched in baby oil.
Yeah, I mean everybody's
Yeah.
sweaty as hell.
Uh,
You know. Yeah. Go ahead, Kogi.
no. I was gonna say like when it came to actually like the flying scenes, I found it really hard to distinguish who was which, who was in which plane,
Hmm.
because when they cut to the human beings, like half their face is covered with the masks, so it's hard to. And then they cut to the planes flying. It was hard for me to recognize who was in which plane. Do they have that stuff in this movie, or had they improved it?
Well, I think they do a better job at like when you hear people's voices, you can hear distinguish who's in each plane, and then
Okay.
their call signs obviously help. Like people have their own kind of different call signs. They had that in the first one
Hmm.
too, but that also helps. And then also saying that which ones was, because you, again, like I said, you have more of a kind of a, diverse cast of people here. You have even now a female pilot who's here. You have one
Hmm.
Latino character, you have one black character. And it's funny that this movie's kind of been used in like some culture war shit or whatever about it's a non woke movie or whatever. When
Oh,
this
yeah.
Ugh.
when this movie has a character in it in Hangman who would have fit perfectly in the '86 Top Gun, and he's the biggest asshole out of anybody who's in the movie. And then he gets humbled throughout the movie, so that's kind of a funny thing there. But yeah, this was a great time. It's crushing in the box office. It's one of the biggest box office openings of Tom Cruise's career. I think it had a small drop off. I think it was only like a 29% drop off with week two.
I,
Um,
I think
Wow.
I think so, and I think so. It had a slight drop off. It came out perfect time of Memorial Day weekend.
yeah, very true. So it just kind of has that perfect storm in it. But yeah, I mean, this movie improves in every single way upon the first
Hmm.
movie. Characters,
Yeah,
um,
and
yeah,
yeah, and I really liked the movie, but there was just so much good stuff that it didn't end up making my top 10. But the biggest thing with this movie is, what if we made the original '86 Top Gun, but we made it good?
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much what this movie basically is. Yeah, which is
Okay.
yeah.
Wow. I gotta see it
Mm.
All right, Nick.
because I have not heard of a movie where before it came out, nobody was talking about it, and now it came
Mhm.
out. Everybody's saying it's the best movie ever. Some people are even saying it's gonna go for the
Nah,
Oscars. Is it not?
that's a
Yeah,
little hyperbolic.
yeah,
Okay.
that's a little much. I mean,
Keep that
Nathan
in
And
mind.
Flynn.
I like the movie, but fuck no.
Yeah, I mean Nathan
Okay.
Flynn may be saying that, but I don't think any normal person is saying that.
But he's doing the whole double-handed we call this the seaman stroke in the Navy
Yeah, I
to
mean,
Tom Cruise.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, he might be saying that, but yeah, he might be loving Tom Cruise. He might be even joining Scientology now. I don't know, but
Oh.
yeah. But Nick, you go ahead.
Okay, moving on to my number 3. It is The Northman. I think this film is one of the best looking films of the year. It's so weird to say that this is Robert Eggers' most accessible film. And there's weird shit like trippy dream sequences with the Vikings and the Valkyries, long segments where it's hard to tell if the film is switching to like a black and white segments in it. And it's accessible with its violence and the action in this film. It's incredible to watch. The initial raid scene that's all done in one single take. It's a technical marvel to watch. And I think it's grounded by these amazing performances by Alexander Skarsgård who was always one of those actors where I thought, okay, he's just like a kind of like big hunky dude that you get whenever you need someone to play those kinds of roles. And here he proved that he does have some versatility and some range. The supporting cast is amazing. Clyce Bang, who plays Fjolnir, Anya Taylor Joy, Nicole Kidman, they're all eating up in this film. I dug the ever loving crap out of it, and it has one of the best third act like final showdowns I've seen in a while.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I gave my thoughts on the movie. It was in my number two. I very much enjoy this movie a lot. I can't wait to see what Robert Eggers does next in his next film. Yeah. All right. I'm going to move it on to my fourth one. My fourth film is Turning Red. Turning Red is a animated movie coming from Disney.
Dude, you'll never believe this, but Turning Red's my number 4 also.
Oh, it's your number 4 also. Okay. Yeah. Well, good.
Yeah.
We can talk about it together. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I wasn't, I don't know if I was really expecting much from it. Looking at some of the animation of it kind of early on, I was kind of like, I don't really know about this. But seeing the movie, I think it has a great quality to it. The humor, the director, kind of bringing her kind of experience and childhood into this movie, I think is also very good. Where you have her who, she is someone who is Chinese Canadian and trying to bring her background into this movie, I think gives it a more realistic kind of sense and more kind of grounded kind of feeling. Even though you're dealing with this girl who turns into a giant red panda and everything like that.
Spoilers. The entire story is like an allegory for like girls going through their period and becoming a woman for them.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even because this movie is so funny. One of the first like lines is she's freaking out at May, who's voiced by Rosalie Chang, is freaking out in the bathroom and hiding in the shower curtain. Is just like, I'm a gross red monster. Which I'm amazed that line got in a Pixar movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Pixar. I'm sorry, I said Disney before. Yeah, Pixar movie. Yeah, and her friend group is also very entertaining. Nice cast of characters in her friend group. You know what I mean, and being in this period of time, early 2000s. This movie set in 2000 and
yeah, but they don't talk about 9/11 at all. What the hell?
Yeah, they don't talk about 9/11 at all. Yeah, man, that dude got destroyed. Oh my god, he had to turn off his comments for that video too. But yeah, I mean, this is like nice kind of cute story that you can sit down and you can watch, with your kids or with a family, I think, and be perfectly, and have a good time with it. I think the mother, again, like we said, generational trauma. This is the season for. This is season for the domineering immigrant mothers, and Sandra Oh is a part of that with the character is the mother character, Ming Lee, who does a terrific job in this as well. And the climax I think also works really well, and then to see the kind of like I said, that wrap up.
Yeah, the climax where you have that very much that symbolism for repressed trauma, and just seeing that, it's one of those tear jerking moments in the film, and also out of nowhere this becomes a kaiju movie.
Yeah, Koki, have you heard anything about this movie?
Yeah, I've heard. First of all, I was surprised that this was a Pixar movie. It didn't. It looked like a Disney studio animation. I thought it was that kind of. I thought was odd, but it's nice to have a movie where it talks about periods, something that guys would not understand and reference. Yeah, and it feels like a movie for girls.
Yeah, something that men wouldn't understand. And you had not just Pixar's first solo female director, but the entire animation team was all female in this.
Oh, really?
Oh,
nice.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. But I think it has so many kind of great qualities in it. When it comes to storytelling, when it comes to the characters, and the way they kind of deal with different situations. Yeah, I really adored this movie. Yeah. All right. Do you want to say anything else about the film, Nick, before I move on? Or?
It is in that category of films that I can be laughing very much like Everything Everywhere, where I can be laughing hysterically at one moment and then sobbing the next. And speaking about the music of this, that's done by Ludwig Göransson. It's one of his most energetic scores. It perfectly captures that time period of the early 2000s and For Town Forever. Because for just a background band that is in this Pixar movie that could have just been like a bit. Four Town's got some bangers.
Your what they call them with
Four townie.
four townies. You're a four townie or something.
I'm a four townie.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what's up?
Ludwig Göransson. Yeah, he did the score for this. Yeah, he's everywhere. Yeah, he's doing a lot of scores for.
Yeah, I did the score. Yeah, the score for this, for Black Panther, for Community back in the day. Produces a lot of Gambian tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a fan?
Oh yeah, he did.
Oh,
Oh yeah, he's one of my favorite composers right now. He made so many iconic scores, scoring Creed, and he really incorporates a lot of like hip hop into his scores, which I thought really works. I love the score for Creed, and then of course you have the Killmonger theme from Black Panther.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, where
and,
it becomes just a trap score for like a solid 3 minutes of the movie, and it slaps.
Yeah,
and it's absolutely amazing. And he did Tenet, I believe.
yeah.
Because Nolan couldn't get
Great.
Hans Zimmer.
Great score movie.
And he's coming. He's going to also be doing another Christopher Nolan Oppenheimer. He's going to be doing that with Nolan as well.
Oh, really? Okay. He's Nolan's new go-to guy.
Maybe he threw away. Maybe he's got a new man now. He threw away Hans Zimmer.
A young man.
just took Hans Zimmer. I don't want to play with you anymore.
Yeah, it's like what Martin Scorsese did with Robert De Niro. He's like, okay, I got Leonardo DiCaprio now. You know what I mean? I got the fresh model. I don't need you anymore.
Yeah. He's like the Emperor in Revenge of the Sith. It's like one far younger and more powerful.
And Ludwig Göransson, he also did Mandalorian. I like that Mandalorian score a lot too. That's a great score. All right, so moving on to my final movie. My final movie for best of the year so far is Jackass Forever. Jackass Forever.
Yes.
They are back and still old and makes these scenes hurt even more. The Jackass crew, but this time they got some more younger members kind of coming in to kind of help out.
They got some young blood to take some of the worst of it.
Yeah, you kind of got some new kind of replacements like Zach Holmes. You got Poopies, who's a new guy. You also have Jasper from the Odd Future crew. He's kind of coming in here. But you do still have a lot of older crew who still kind of mixes some stuff up. Like Johnny Knoxville does the old bull trick. Where I think he lost a lot of percentage of his cognitive by doing that. Like he had so much brain damage, like he lost like 10 or so percent of his cognitive. Like I said, that's what kind of makes it even kind of crazier is that these guys are still this age doing it, and it's just like you instead of feeling like before when they're in their 20s, it's like they're in their 20s, crazy shit. It's like now it's like oh shit, they're about to die.
Dumbasses, like.
It's like
who do you think dies on camera first, Tom Cruise or Johnny?
Yeah, it's like a race pretty much. I mean, they just
but maybe they should have Tom Cruise and Jackass.
I would
watch that movie.
Yeah, he might do it. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would actually love that'd be the best crossover there. Tom Cruise and Jackass.
Things they do are equally as dangerous, just in different degrees.
It's just the running with the bulls, and it's just Tom Cruise versus bull. Tom Cruise outruns the bull.
He
just managed to he just outruns all of the fucking stunts.
Maybe put him in a room with a cheetah, see if he can outrun a cheetah. But I had a good time with it. They always do really great bits. It's more than I think just people hitting each other in the nuts. I mean, there's that too. Especially the one guy, Aaron McGahee. I mean, he gets the worst of it. Like all his stuff is balls related. Like it's getting hit in the balls, kicked in the balls, balls thrown into his balls,
softball thrown at him.
Yeah, I mean he gets a lot of the worst. I don't even know how he even still has balls.
He gets the worst.
Dude took a nut shot from Francis Ngannou. He's got my respect for life.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the elaborate kind of stunts they kind of do are very kind of inventive. Like they, there's always somebody get shot out of a cannon, or the bull stunt, or when they go even just to a regular where they prank regular people. There was the one where The character, the bigger character, I forgot his name. I think it's Preston Lacey, the bigger guy.
Preston Lacey. Oh,
Yeah, where he jumped and then it was like it allowed Johnny Knoxville to go spring in the air and go into the roof and then come down. Yeah, you do have a lot of great stuff like that. That is kind of well done. Have you seen this, Cokie?
oh yeah, I've seen it. Of all the movies, yeah, I know.
Oh, okay. And what did you think about
Yeah,
this one?
it's not my favorite Jackass movie. That one will always be Jackass 2, but considering these people's age, I was a little more worried for them, how it's gonna come out. But I love seeing some of the misery on their faces, especially like, yeah, with Aaron McGee. He really didn't seem to like a lot of the stuff that he did. It was still a welcome return, I thought. The young crew, I didn't feel like they gave them enough to do. I feel like they were sporadically in them, but didn't really overshadow all the other guys. I guess they were trying to make up for the absence of Ryan Dunn and Bam Margera. Which, Bam, if you're listening to this, I hope you get better because you were my favorite, and I'm sad that you weren't in this. Yeah.
Oh, you're a Bam guy. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I really was. He was my favorite, and it sucks to see what he's become.
Nick, any thoughts on this movie?
This movie, it is very much a Jackass, and it has some of my favorite stunts that they've ever done. But for me, nothing will ever beat the experience of getting to see Jackass 3 in theaters in 3D.
That was
that movie was in 3D.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, watching them experiment with 3D because they did the whole Rocky Punch bit where they threw water and then they punched somebody in the face. That was really good. But that was pretty nice.
That entire opening is epic.
What is your next movie, Nick?
Okay, my next movie is a little horror film directed by Ty West. I'm talking about X, starring Mia Goth, Brittany Snow, Martin Henderson, Jenna Ortega, and Kid Cudi, who I never thought I would see in a horror movie.
Wow.
And never thought I'd see him in a horror movie. And this film, for me, this is very much... what if we made a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, but we had something more to say in terms of like how people age, what art is, how even as you get older, the desires of youth don't really go away. But where's the line where we think it's like grotesque? I think it's one of the best modern horror movies, and it avoids a lot of the cliches of old people doing crazy shit just by letting us actually sit with our antagonists of our older actors and getting to see them actually have some love and tenderness. And for a cast that is stereotypical, this is a porn film crew. None of them are really bad people. It was like even like the most shady of them with Martin Henderson. He's also like, hey, he's also really kind to his crew. He is like takes care of his people. He even goes out of his way to help this old man look for his missing wife.
When is the sequel for this, or the prequel, I should say? It's supposed to be coming out this year, right?
Yeah, I think Pearl comes out later this year, which is Mia Goth's returning to play that role. Ty West is directing, but I don't know if there's a release date for it yet.
Okay. Which, by the way, very great job with the old age makeup. I think they do.
Mia Goth plays two roles. One as Maxine as the younger, and as Pearl the older wife that lives in this house that this porn crew is filming in.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Koki, have you heard about this movie at all?
I have. All I heard is an old ghost wants to fuck a bunch of people. That's the only heard I've that's what I've heard of this movie. So I don't know if that's accurate, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's more accurate than you'd think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Got
say,
me curious.
I'd say it's a good throwback movie. I don't know if you're familiar with Tyler's work. I love what he did with House of the Devil, which is kind of a throwback to 70s ghost story type movies. This is a throwback to 70s kind of slasher movies, very much like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I think I saw it, washed the taste out of my mouth of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 that came out on Netflix this year, which will probably be on my worst of list, honestly.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this movie. I saw it. I had a great time with it. I didn't know there was a stinger at the end of it with the whole trailer for the other movie. So I was like, oh, okay. That's like, I guess I have to stay at the end of every movie now because I guess everything wants to do stingers.
God
and
damn it.
shit. I'm like, okay. But yeah, I had a good time with it. I don't feel as strongly about it as I did maybe when I first saw it, but I still did enjoy it. Which is why it wasn't on my kind of best of the year so far. Do you have anything else, Nick? Or
Yeah, I just got a couple honorable mentions that I'd feel I didn't speak about.
okay.
A couple of my honorable mentions: Fresh, that horror movie starring Sebastian Stan and Daisy Edgar Jones. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That's another of my honorable mentions, and of course, the film that is directed by Michael Bay but is written by a living bag of cocaine, Ambulance.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about Fresh, about why it was Fresh in your honorable mentions.
Okay, Fresh is in my honorable mentions because it is a film that is about the horrors of modern dating. And I watched it at a very, particular time in my life where I really resonated with that.
Yeah. Koki, have you heard about this movie?
I've heard about it. Yeah. Sebastian Stan plays there.
I will say it's really good, but go in as cold as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Recommend that. Yeah. I think Sebastian Stan does a great job with this movie, as well as
it's showing off the range that Sebastian Stan gets to have whenever he's not just restricted to just playing Bucky Barnes.
Yeah, yeah. It's nice to see him play in kind of some other roles, and kind of break out of just being Bucky. You have also Daisy Edgar Jones, who I also think does a very good job in this as well. And yeah, I mean, it's awesome to see them, and they have good chemistry. They do. And he's very charming in this movie. You also said Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. That's a movie that Koki saw as well. So why is this in your honorable?
Yeah, for me, I'm kind of bordering on a little bit of that and superhero fatigue. I mean, I'm a huge fan, but it's like 4 movies and like 6 shows a year. It starts to get a little exhausting, and a lot of them start to feel very same-ish. Even films I like Spider-Man: No Way Home, like Shang-Chi. I think if you switch out directors, very little about both of those movies would actually change. And then you get to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, directed by one of the forefathers of this modern superhero era, in Sam Raimi. And you let him go off in a way that I didn't think Disney would let him. You let Sam Raimi make a horror movie first and a Doctor Strange movie second, which I'm amazed by. Letting him use a lot of his latest and his greatest hits with his camera tricks, even having a third act that feels ripped right out of an Evil Dead film.
Koki?
Yeah, this is not really my favorite Marvel movie. It definitely isn't probably in the top tier, but I thought it was nice to see that Doctor Strange trippiness, and having Sam Raimi as the director definitely helped, especially with the horror elements. Yeah, but considering this was a movie called Multiverse of Madness, I don't think there was a lot of multiverse stuff. I heard a lot of hype with all the cameos, and then of course you got the Illuminati. To me, that was like, wait, that's it? Like you had them a little bit in the second act, and then that to me it's like I wanted a little more of the multiverse. If they're going to tease certain stuff, that's what I felt like. And Doctor Strange, I thought to me, he's a character that works more as just a side character. That's what I felt. I thought he was really strong in Infinity War and No Way Home, but here, I don't know. Like he's not really someone I care so much about, especially when he's in like Central. That's what I felt about this movie.
I kind of agree. I think he's like not written as strongly in his own solo project. I think the difference is you get an actor like Benedict Cumberbatch, and he manages to elevate that material for me, even when it's a little bit lacking.
Yeah. Are you a comic book reader at all, Koki, or you follow that stuff? Or no?
No, I just watch the movies.
Okay. Yeah, I know a lot of people were interested in this because Sam Raimi directed it, and a lot of people go like, I usually don't care about these MCU stuff, but hey, it's Sam Raimi, big time horror guy, Evil Dead series. He did Spider-Man. He did, Drag Me to Hell. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm gonna check it out because Sam Raimi's directing it. I don't think he went as far as as he maybe could have. I think it's still Disney. Obviously, got to pull the reins in, and obviously, big time corporation conglomerate.
You also got to remember he came onto the project relatively late, and just by the nature of how Marvel releases films, he didn't get a lot of time to use a lot of like his Raimi-isms.
Yeah, yeah, that's also another thing, and you know what I mean. I get that you want to build excitement for the next project, but you can slap an MCU logo on anything, and people pretty much are like, "Ooh, they're doing a new thing." So I think it'd be better if you just really took some time and not try to force, what I mean? Like, or we already got a set schedule that this is going to come out, so we got to rush and already hurry up and do this, and before you can really just take time to actually process and then move on to the next project.
I love the movie. It made me more curious to see, do we get another Sam Raimi Doctor Strange, and do we like have him in the director chair from the jump?
Yeah. All right. Ambulance. Why was Ambulance in your honorable mentions?
Ambulance is a goddamn cocaine-fueled thrill ride that I know that there's a lot of problems with that movie. It is overly long. It is a little bit cartoonish, but I felt it's cartoonish in the best ways possible. And just how insane the screenplay is to Jake Gyllenhaal's unhinged, just energetic performance, have some just lines that come out of nowhere that still catch me off guard. Like that whole initial hostage taking of the ambulance is like, I really wish I didn't have a gun in my face. And Jake, without missing a beat, is like, well, I wish I didn't have herpes, but we got to deal with the cards we're dealt.
Jake Gyllenhaal I think is really fun in this movie. I think he is perfectly playing like a Michael Bay character that you see. I mean, he is just turned up to 11, like very much like Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
You say Jake Gyllenhaal's turned up to 11. The entire movie 11, and even though it is like 2 hours long, it's like 40 minutes longer than it should be. I had a blast watching it.
Okay. I thought it was odd that Jake Gyllenhaal did this kind of movie because he seems more like a character actor. Wants to do like versatile stuff.
He very much is. He brings that like energy to this character, and I feel like I talked to Nathan Flynn about this film, and it sounded like this was kind of a film where Michael Bay kind of took a step back, allowed the cast to improvise a lot more, even having for a lot of the scenes in the ambulance, because this was filmed during the height of the pandemic, allowing Jake Gyllenhaal to be kind of like the uncredited director on it, because he was the one more running the show inside the ambulance.
Oh,
nice. Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, you see Jake Gyllenhaal.
I have issues with Michael Bay as an actor. He does get a little. He does fall back on a little bit of that frat boy humor in terms of, kind of casual racism, a little bit of casual misogyny. And here he dodges those cliches beautifully in a way that I was expecting them to drop, and they never really did. They just moved on from that.
Okay. Would you say it's one of the better Bay films?
I think it's my favorite Michael Bay movie since something like Pain and Gain,
Oh,
where this was him genuinely putting his heart and soul into a project versus Transformers or something like 13 Hours.
yeah. Are you interested in this movie, Koki?
I'm interested in seeing it, but watching it, I thought if the characters were dumb, I'm not gonna watch it. But listen to your take on it, maybe I will, because I did not like Pain and Gain. I thought the characters in the movie were so freaking dumb, and same with Transformers. That it way down.
But that's the point of Pain and Gain. That these guys are so much stupider than they realize. And that's where a lot of the comedy in that film comes from.
Yeah. This feels more like a simplistic action movie, so it'll be fun in that regards.
Yeah. Any other movie on your list there, Nick?
A couple more that are in no particular order. Chippendale Rescue Rangers. I talked about that last week. Just me being a big fan and lover of animation, getting a proper revival of something like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and having it be done in this kind of manner, blending all of these animation styles in the same frame, talking about how Hollywood just makes movies in general, how people forget the stars. I thought it was a really excellently told movie. And the final one that I'll mention, Nicolas Cage's The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I finally got a chance to see this the other week. It is very much, I agree with a lot of the points that you said, Josh, in your review, that the first two acts of this movie are chef's kiss amazing, that are beautifully driven by the chemistry between Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal, who they have so many scenes together where I am laughing hard. It is a very meta film. It is a great companion piece to something like the first Scream or even Tropic Thunder. I do think the third act is a little bit weak, though. That's the weakest part of the film, and the whole CIA plot. But that chemistry between Cage and Pascal, that carried me through it.
Yeah. Either two of these movies have you seen, Koki, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, or Chippendale Rescue Rangers?
Yeah, I did see Chippendale. I'm gonna watch the Nicolas Cage movie. Chippendale to me was the movie that I wanted. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I wanted that to be more like Chippendale. There's a lot of references, but they're not. I don't feel like they ever overshadowed the movie for the most part. There's some jokes that they told where I genuinely didn't feel like they would even go there, considering, like people like us, we know about, the licensing and which studios own which property. So considering that barrier, there's some stuff that they went that, I didn't know that they could go there. It was fun to watch. Plus, when you have like celebrity voice actors, I'm not usually a fan of that, but Andy Samberg and John Mulaney, I thought they had really good chemistry. And beyond all the the animation references and the meta references, it's the core about their story and their friendship. That's what made me just like watching the movie.
Yeah, this is the movie I wanted Space Jam 2 to be.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun movie. Like I said, I think Andy Samberg, John Mulaney had good chemistry, and it was nice. They did a lot of callbacks to a lot of references to movies, like they did the Ugly Sonic. They did the whole thing with Seth Rogen, the whole trend in that animation where everything looked alive, but also
Uncanny Valley.
Dead.
Like the Polar Express eyes.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So that was fun. They did a lot of those things in there, and it's also you could sit at home, just watch it, enjoy it. And I think it's perfect to just sit at home and kind of watch and enjoy. I do have some issues with his characters and everything like that, some things. But I thought it was a fun movie. I did enjoy that movie.
Yeah. I thought the trailers were awful, so I'm just surprised how much I liked it.
Really?
I thought it looked like Alvin the Chipmunks Part 5 or something.
Really, the trailers are what sold me. that you do have this kind of insane story of, hey, what if cartoons were just like in the real world and we just treated them as like normal celebrities.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of something like BoJack Horseman.
Oh
Or
yeah.
a much lighter hearted BoJack Horseman.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a great list, Nick. Had a lot of great movies on there. Very, very much appreciate